Hi, everyone. So we are here to talk about camps today. We do have a bit of an agenda. So throughout this presentation, or throughout this really hour and a half that we have you booked for, we plan to go over a quick introduction. Then we will go have an overview of the new camp features and enhancements that we already have in Avocado, and finish up with the roundtable session. So let's get ready for camp season by talking about how Avocado can make your camp a success. As we move through the features, keep in mind what currently works for you and what additional features you would like to see us add to Avocado. We can't wait to hear more from you on how your organization will best utilize Avocado for camps. We will be talking about reporting in terms of class lists, enhanced forms, viewing forms and engage, sign-in and attendance, program transfers and cancellations, group management, meal planning, and communications. As you know, Salesforce is known for its robust reporting, but there are additional reports built right into Avocado that are designed to provide you the information you need, especially for running camps. An example of this is our class lists, where you can customize the information you want to pull, such as prompt responses, as you build out how you want the class list to appear. This can also work with our enhanced forms, which I will discuss in a moment. But they look like this within the class lists. Other examples of these reports are lists and attendance, group and bus sorting, and sign-in pages, which we will cover later on in this presentation. You will be able to add information such as demographics, contact information, and birth dates or ages. So really whatever you want to be able to see on those specific campers. So on this part where we have the contact, that's where you can add in the additional information such as that contact information or emergency contact, those birth dates and ages. So as little or as much as you want to see. In the enhanced forms is what we're kind of looking at right here. And as you know, a lot of effort has been applied to forms over the past little bit. And we presented on many of these changes during our last user group. For specifics, we do have that session recorded if you want more detail on these practices. In addition to being able to see these prompts on the class list, as we saw on the last slide, or tied to something specific, such as an instance or facility, we have also created account and contact-based forms, which live on the account or contact with an expiry date. Additionally, there's functionality that allows communication to those who haven't filled out the forms yet, a relative registration date, so a date when they can be allowed, where they are allowed to edit their forms until when tied to an instance, and being able to access account and contact-based forms through Member Engage. Lastly, we have added enhanced forms where the responses will be accessible through stylized form templates, such as we are seeing here. Be sure to chat with your account manager for these specifics. As mentioned previously, we have added new functionality that pulls account and contact-based forms into Engage, so your staff can easily access this information without having to go back into Avocado. You can see this form here. So we can see that within Engage, if you just move over to, once you're on the contact, move over to forms, you can see those forms being pulled through right here, so you can easily access that. We have also added a lot of other functionality to Engage over this past year. And although it was focused mostly on childcare, we believe most of the functionality also works for camp. You may also remember a previous user group focused on this topic, and we do have an Engage playbook that can be found in our full user manual. If you need help with accessing either of those files, please again reach out to your account manager. We added the previous functionality to allow for a seamless transition between signing in your campers and having access to their data without having to go back and forth between Engage and Salesforce or Avocado, as we want you to be able to take advantage of the signing in capabilities that we have added. You might be familiar with Engage already here, where we're looking at a specific instance and we see everybody already registered on that instance. We can see right here that Andrea is checked in. We can see that Brennan is checked out, and we can see Eve is not checked in. So very visually being able to see all of that information. With this case of Andrea not checked in, we would be able to collect certain information as we do sign her in. There are a number of customizations available for this specific, or to meet your specific needs of your association, such as collecting the information of the parent or guardian who dropped the camper off and or is picking them up, as shown here. So checked in, now I can collect that information. I can put in this specific time as well. So it's not, it says 8 a.m. here, but it can be 8:01 because we know that it needs to be those specifics, especially when it comes to children. And we can see that she is currently checked in now. This information is recorded both in Engage and within Salesforce and Avocado for your reference. However, we also realize that in some cases, you may not need to capture all of this information and instead need to just record that a child is present. This can be done easily, so it is just one click to record the child's attendance. Lastly, we further recognize that internet or devices may not be readily accessible, especially with overnight and outdoor camps. So we do offer a paper sign-in page. This will provide the staff information they need to record on camper whereabouts, including who picked them up and when, along with a prompt for checking photo ID. The next topic is about program transfers and cancellations. You're probably familiar with these already, but over the last year, we did add the ability to do this in batch. Especially over the pandemic, we learned that you need to be able to do it, whether it is an entire program or an instance rather, or even just a group of people that need to be able to be either transferred or canceled from an instance. So we'll be able to demonstrate that a little bit on this screen through these screenshots, really focusing here on the cancel registrations and transfer registrations buttons, which are found on the instance through the camps, programs and camps page. On the left-hand side, we can see the cancel registrations, and on the right-hand side, we can see transfers. So you can see within here, it gives you the information you need and the ability to select all or only select the individuals that you need. You can do that both for the cancel registrations and the transfer registrations side of things. On the left with the cancel registrations, all you do is click this button, whereas transfer, you are going to click next and be brought to this screen where you can then choose where you want to transfer them to and transfer those registrations. Another tool that we have is group management, which helps sort campers however needed, whether it be by bus, by cabin, camper group, or whichever way you need to. While using the group management tool, you can see the information on the child that is helpful for sorting them into the right group. This includes their name, age, gender, instance, dates. You can also view their camper mate request if you have this question added to your prompt group or form during the registration process. As we can see here, Jennifer and Amy have requested each other as their cabin mate request. So we can then move them into a group by just simply dragging and dropping them. Which you can see here, now we have Jennifer and Amy in that same group, and it did pull over all of that same information that we needed to see. If an age was set on the group, and I tried to drag and drop a child that wasn't in the correct age group, it would also provide me with that feedback so I can put the child in the right place. Well, as we can see here, there's a warning when we tried to move Jane, who is 6, into a group for 2 to 4-year-olds. For our meal plan module, you can plan out any and all snacks and meals you'll be offering during camp. You can also include notes on any dietary restrictions and or needs that need to be kept track of as well. And so you can add a different line each time for any of those different meals, keeping track of the dates, the times, whatever that meal is, the number that you need, and any notes to go along with that. There are a number of communications that Avocado already utilizes. such as confirmations, cancellations, waitlist updates, and form reminders. The TechShare team can also work with you to build out custom automations you may want. So chat with your account manager if that is something you are interested in. Lastly, there are a lot of SMS options that are simple add-ons. We can work with you on getting this going if you are interested. To review some of the features that Avocado has to help with camps, we have camper group management, online attendance management, forms management, report customization, waitlist management, mobile device capabilities, communication platform for attendees, camper registration management, and database management. So this does take us to our roundtable, but before I pass this over to Laura to kick it off, is there anybody that has any questions on anything that I have already shown? So Laura, I'll let you kick off the roundtable.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Sarah. That was really great to see all the different features that Avocado is offering. So really, the roundtable is just an open forum for us to have that discussion. It's our chance to hear from you. And so even if we could just go roundtable, or if you want to volunteer to tell us a little bit about your camps. So what specific camps are you running? Overnight, day camp? Roughly how many campers are you serving? What's your season? And then let us know what you're currently using to manage your camps. So what software are you using, or currently what are you using Avocado for? So I'll let you guys take the wheel here, or I can call on someone. So if we have any volunteers.
Do we have any volunteers? Anyone who wants to share their camp structure? You can always call
I'm
out.
happy to go.
Thanks, Kelly.
No problem.
That's good, Kelly. I was going to call on you if you didn't.
Well, I figured that might happen, and I know Laura is basically an expert in camps already, so I'm sure she's got tons of valuable insight. It looks so. I'm with the YMCA of Southwestern Ontario. We can't give you the number of campers we had this year, but it was 12,000 camp weeks, just over 12,000 camp weeks. So that might have campers coming for more than 1 week. And we've been on Avocado since its inception, so since 2017. These new features look really interesting, so I'm excited to learn a little bit more about them. I do have some questions in terms of seeing that camper mate request move into another group. We're still using prompts to capture kind of camper mate requests. Would we need to be, is that where the information is pulling from, or would we need to move over to more of a form? So that was one thing that came up in the presentation for us. I don't think we've really been utilizing forms too much, and we're getting ready right now to do our upload for, sorry, my computer is just going bananas. So we've been we're getting all set up right now to do our 2023 upload in the next week or two. So I don't know if there's something we need to change there, but yeah, generally we're still using prompts. So just wondering if that feature is available under prompts. And I'm just keeping my camera off because my kids are going to walk through the door pretty soon. So.
Rachel, did you want to address some of that?
I was going to say, I can probably speak to that maybe the best.
Do you mind introducing yourself, Rachel, just in case there are people who don't know who you are? Yeah.
Yes, I will. My name is Rachel Quinn. I'm one of the project managers with TechShare. I came from support, so I have a lot of background knowledge for how Avocado runs. So in terms of setting up that prompt group, there is a type that is cabin mate. On the prompt, you would just set that prompt to be that cabin mate type and then put that within your prompt group, and then it will pull through to that group management area.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
And then we definitely urge, Kelly, you talked about forums and prompt groups. They're the same thing. We've kind of shifted the terminology over to forums now. I'm very thankful for, to call out not everyone, but, Azim's NAB Association for assisting us in getting that feature available to you guys for enhanced forms. So if you are setting up your forms for the next session, we definitely should talk about how to make those forms printer friendly through an enhanced form, and we can work through that with you with Rachel, who's also the account manager for SOW, Southwestern Ontario. Thank you, Kelly.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
All right, so thanks for going first, Southwestern Ontario.
Is there anyone else who'd like to volunteer to speak next about their camp offerings and what they currently use? Yeah, Michael.
Hi everyone. So Mike from YMCA Calgary. So we offer overnight and day camps as well too. How many campers? We did about 7,600 over the course of the summer for both our overnight camps as well as our day camps. And probably looking to increase that over in 2023. And just like Southwest, we're in the process now of building out our 2023 camping season and making sure all those things are set up and ready to go. And we've been using Avocado with the forms and the prompts. And so some of these new features will be helpful as we look forward. Particularly for us, the biggest side of it's the reporting side for our staff. Sign in, sign out. The prompt groups, that stuff came a little bit later than we were anticipating for our summer. So those are some of the areas that we're looking to continue to enhance and just make it easier for our teams to use Avocado for the camping software component of it. And what's working really well for us is the registration. I think we found that was really well. We moved all of our registrations online, so that was a success last summer. But it's when it came to the prompt groups and the reporting and the form printing, those are the biggest challenges we see. And we would like to use Engage over the course of the summer. It looks like forms is only on accounts and contacts. We put forms on our prompt groups on programs and instances. Is that something you guys are looking at adding in to allow for Engage to also use that for camps?
Sarah, did you want to speak to that? I know we have had talks about that. I think that was something that was brought up in our sprint planning.
So it is something that we are definitely looking at doing, and I did see that on your list as well, Mike. So we are having some discussions on what that looks like and how to make it so that you can easily see them. So basically the issue of why we only did our accounts and contacts to begin with was if we have people registered for many different ones and have a ton of different prompts, it is hard to be able to see them all very easily if you need to look for a specific piece of information pretty quickly. So definitely in those talks for sure.
Thank you.
I think that makes sense though, Michael, for the most part. And then the second part of that is well received as well around, it's one thing to print the forms and see them, but it's another to do analytics on them, report across them. And that is more challenging, but it's something that's on our mind. How do we, allow you to have dashboards and reporting on that type of form data? It's a lot easier said than done, I can tell you that, but we are talking about it. All right, so we've heard from Calgary and Swo. Who else do we have with us?
MJ?
Hi, I'm from MNP Community and Sports Center in Calgary. I'm brand new to Avocado, and I was just kind of thrown in the fire, and no one has used the camp module or the childcare module. So I've been doing everything manually, pulling people's names over in an Excel sheet. So this is all brand new to me. We did try and put prompts on for our winter registration, but we were having troubles having customer service bypass when they do in-person and over the phone registration. So yeah, I'm here to learn, and hopefully we can set something up for spring and summer. And we have about 1,800 to 2,000 campers in the summer with just week-long day programs.
Nice to meet you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's great to meet you, MJ, and we definitely look forward to speaking with you regarding getting your camp set up for this summer. So thank you. Anybody else like to share? Asim?
Hey, Asim with the YMCA of Northern Alberta. We run camps in three of our regions, but most of ours are out of Edmonton. We don't do overnight camps, we just do day camps. The majority of them are in the summer. We also do like school break in school, or like during the school year, if there's like spring break or teachers convention or professional development days, we kind of run single day or week-long camps for kids while parents are at work. This past summer, we served about just under 5,000 total camper weeks and about 3,000 children in our summer camp program. And throughout the year, it's about a couple hundred kids that we would serve. The big part of the big change that we did this past year was using the enhanced forms or customized forms to allow us to capture medical forms at the point of registration. It used to be a nightmare having parents walk in on the first day when you've got 300, 400 kids showing up at one site to drop their kids off, and you're trying to get papers filled out and in the hands of counselors as they're trying to start their day. So it was very helpful to have this solution in place for us this past year, and even just the ability to print them off linked to the contacts. We don't have too much more that we're looking at right now. I know one of the challenges with using the Engage and sign-in systems, while it would be really good to take away a lot of that paper administration, it's kind of the infrastructure costs of having mobile devices for all of our staff, having internet access, especially as the camps aren't necessarily always within Wi-Fi range of one of our centers as they move around. But maybe down the road, once we have that in place, we'll be able to leverage some of those tools. So that'd be one of our challenges. It's not necessarily an Avocado challenge, but I would also echo the statements that were made previously around forms and trying to get more reportable form data on a per child, per camp basis, as opposed to it's a little bit difficult to pull that information out now unless you spend a lot of time setting up those kind of preset custom printed forms. So that would be YMCA of Northern Alberta.
Thank you, Asim. Sarah, I think it was you, maybe it was someone else. Haven't we done some sign-in sheet enhancements as well? Was that part of your presentation? We should echo that if we could.
Yeah, we did do a couple of them in terms of we had one box that had sign in, sign out, so it was really difficult to put all information in. So we did do a few enhancements, but it sounds as if there are a few more that we need to also include.
Okay. Excellent.
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you, Asim. Anybody else like to share? Or in addition to just sharing what your camp is currently doing and how your camp functions, anything that you're looking for where needs improvement. So if you're currently using it, I know a few of you who have shared have included that. But is there even anything that you've seen today where it looks really great? However, that one step farther that would just really assist with your camp on a day-to-day basis.
I can go for Simcoe Muskoka, but I'm kind of in the same boat that we are not using Avocado yet, but we hope to. So in Simcoe Muskoka, we offer overnight and day camp. Our overnight registrations actually this weekend. We currently do everything in Camp Brain. We serve about 2,000 unique children a year, but they attend multiple days and weeks of camp. And so for Camp Brain, because it's this weekend, we're going ahead and doing our overnight camp, but our hope is to get day camp into Avocado for this upcoming summer. And a couple of the pieces that have been missing, at least so far, have already been mentioned on this call. Things like an easy sign in, sign out, things like cabin requests. There are two pieces though that are really complicated. And one of those is merchandise. Our camp likes to sell t-shirts and hats and gloves and all kinds of things. And I don't know how we would do that in Avocado, especially without like photos or pictures of what you're buying. And the other piece is staff recruitment. Currently in Camp Brain, we do a lot of staff and volunteer and even doctor recruitment for our camps. And I just also can't imagine how we can quite get that off the ground.
Staff, sorry, maybe I'm naive on camps. What's staff recruitment?
Or like when you're hiring camp counselors, like they create their account, provide their information. You're sort of tracking their flow that way.
Oh, their onboarding and paperwork. And yeah.
I understand that. I'm sorry. I thought there was something that was missing. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Jen, I'm just looking for just a question about your merchandise. Are you speaking like as if parents were to purchase on the portal online?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we currently sell like a whole, like there's, I don't know, 30, 40 different items. So I couldn't really do that as just an add-on. It's kind of its own website in effect.
Right. Okay.
Do you mind if I ask one more question about that? How important is it that tie in? Like, is this for overnight camp?
Yeah.
So it's for, hey, my child or dependents at camp, and I want to send them something now. Is that what that you're talking about?
Usually you order it. Like people order them. So currently if I logged into Camp Brain and I were going to sign up, I fill out my info and then there's several forms. There's like a medical form and there's different steps involved. But one of those steps is, here is all of our merchandise and what would you like to order? Some people give it like as a Christmas gift or a, hey, I registered you for camp. I don't know, but it comes at all different times of year. It's not like day camp where you say, I want a Youth XL t-shirt and it just comes when you're at day camp. It's different.
So it's A, just e-commerce, and then B, I was trying to understand the impact of, is this for at camp? In other words, give them this on Monday, this on Tuesday, this on Thursday. Okay.
No, it's just in general. Like I'm ordering Y swag.
I gotcha. Okay, so there's a couple of thoughts I have on that, but we obviously can talk later. If it's just Y swag and just, e-com, that might be more feasible. Okay.
That's great. Thank you very much, Jen. Kelly, you have your hand up.
Hi, yeah. For us, I think we'd be looking, one thing we could see that needs improvement is just reporting our financials and our adjustments. I really struggled this year to kind of report back on the number of weeks of camp that we provided with financial assistance. I didn't have a lot of reports that kind of pulled that information really cleanly for me, because you kind of get a line every time a family makes a payment. So if they're on, a 5 or 6 payment schedule, you are duplicating your lines. So for us, some more reporting around the adjustments that we offer and the third-party billers would be really helpful, just so we can better capture kind of those different levels of assistance we're offering.
Great, thank you very much. Would anybody? Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. I think there are a few associations that haven't spoke. I don't know if we want to call them out, but I can see them on there.
Yeah.
We have some hands up, though. I'll let you do those first.
Yeah, definitely. So Michael, you had your hand up first, and then we'll go to Julian.
Yeah, just one more clarification on the meal planning. I know the meal planning is probably distinctly tied to the facility rental side of the system. What is it possible that be tied in through prompt groups? Because one of our biggest challenges this summer was figuring out the camper allergies for food service, especially at overnight, which we need to be very specific with. And so that's one of the things we noticed. The meal planning is predominantly designed for facility rentals, But is there an opportunity to that to be added for camps as well too?
I can take that if you'd like, Laura, because I was here when we first developed the meal plan. The meal plan was designed as a standalone, so it's actually not tied to facility or registrations. So right now it's just build your meal plan. So it's really just a tool to allow you to build it, but you are on the right path of the next step in that meal plan system would be to tie it to your registrations. So automatically build me the meal plan with the prompts similar to your cabin mate, where it would pull in your meal preference questions or your medical questions. So it can happen, but it's not presently doing that. But very good point, Michael.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Julian, would you like to go ahead?
So my name is Julian. I'm with the YMCA of Northeastern Ontario. So we operate an overnight camp, John Island Camp, and we also offer 6 different day camps, both offsite and in branches of the YMCA. So we're currently using Avocado. I am new to our association or our organization, but I know historically we've used Class and Camp Brain. And I think one of the challenges that I'm experiencing with integrating Avocado is just everyone in our organization is coming primarily from a membership background. So it's one thing to get the information and take payment, but the accessing, reporting, and basically pulling out camp-specific information and developing unique reports to camp has been a struggle. And for me personally, I think the self-help features for camp-specific functions has been a learning curve for me. So I guess like if I were to have if there was a built-in question, it would be what camp-specific resources are available to better utilize camp-specific features? And is there sort of a self-help feature or phone number? And the reason why I pose is just coming from Camp Brain, from specifically the conference center module, which is primarily used for rentals and bookings and things like that. But there is a video library of how-tos.
So pretty much everything you've seen Sarah demonstrate is available in our manual. We don't have videos on them. We have talked about doing videos, which is a good idea. But one of the options we might take on is doing a subset of the manual. So really think of it almost like just a table of contents that said, okay, here's the 10 things that you're going to want to know for camp. Let me link you to those in that mammoth of a manual, which is 700 pages. That's the first thought I had, Julian. The second thought is I'm hearing a lot about reporting, and part of this is to hear from you and to say, okay, what do we need to do? Maybe we have another session on reports, because there are some associations have some amazing reports that are really geared towards camps, and we can share those with you, right? And make sure that you're not struggling when someone else has that report. So those are the two thoughts I had. Does anyone else from TechShare have thoughts?
No, I was just going to echo what you had said, Matthew, regarding the playbook with creating that step-by-step just specifically for camp. That would be like your guide when you're creating camp, running camp, post-camp, right?
Yeah, and our commitment, which we're going to leave to the end, but I'll say it now, is we want you to succeed. So we don't want you to struggle. If you need help, make sure you ask, and we'll make sure that we're helping you succeed with camps. So hopefully you don't feel like you're on your own and trying to figure this out. You should be able to call our support desk. We've tried to send the message right through our team. let's make sure everyone's succeeding with camps. Not just camps, but let's make sure that they're succeeding with camps as well.
Mhm.
So we're here for you, Julian. Please call us.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Who else is here? Anyone else like to share?
I'm going to pick on my favorite people to pick on in these comments. Adam, Vic, anybody else from HBB? Can you chat a bit about your camps?
Yeah, I can probably contribute, although I'm not the knowledge holder in HBB. We run day camps and overnight camp, and it's a big part of what we do for sure. We're currently on Camp Brain, and the question why Camp Brain and not Avocado is probably multifaceted. One is momentum. There's a ton of inbuilt knowledge around how to use Camp Brain, and there's a ton of history with the tool, and the staff feel like it's a best-in-class program, so they're not really keen to move off of it unless we can present a compelling, like, here's what you're getting for that trade-off. And then just as important, I think, would be, like, we could set up and register families and kids for camp through Avocado. I say tomorrow, like, let's invent time, but I know how to do all of that stuff. It's how do I import the history from Camp Brain so that we can track how many years have you come to camp, so we can recognize that, and we can track all of that stuff. And then Jen was speaking about all the other features like the activity finder, the merchandise stuff, the staff recruitment tool. So momentum is really the thing that's holding us back, but there are compelling reasons to use Avocado, and as we watch the functionality evolve, we're certainly interested.
Thank you. I appreciate you sharing that.
Thank you. Anybody else have any favorites to call upon, or?
Other favorites of all. It's spoken already. I will say this one thing that I know, Mike, you've spoken already from Calgary, but I think there's a couple other people on the call from Calgary as well. If they want to speak at all, they are more than welcome to do so. Jana, I think.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Yana. I'm the general manager of our overnight camp, and I run one of the day camps, outdoor-based day camps in the city. So the ones that are pretty offline. So looking at your printouts, those look really a lot better than this past summer. I think, yeah, Mike and I are working through a list of things that we need for this year, and I think that's a combination of us using Avocado differently and learning from our mistakes, and then also looking to some of the, like, that engage module. I don't know what you call it, but that piece looks really awesome, and having a way for folks to look at that data in a read-only capacity looks really awesome. And then some of the pieces that specifically I'm looking at needing to be different are that sort of manipulation of data. So being able to take individual prompt responses and pull into a different report, like the cabin mate and potentially the meal plan piece, that took up a lot of staff time this year. We were pulling, basically just exporting into Excel full camper lists and then just sorting it manually. So as you can imagine, that is not ideal for a time, but also just in terms of, like, I don't love it when we're manipulating data that much, because then that's when lots of mistakes creep in. So yeah, just looking to really look at these evolutions and make sure that we're covering our bases. I think this year was a pretty intense year for lots of reasons in the overnight camp world. And so as we learn from all of that happened this past year, really making sure that the system we're using, Avocado is what we're using currently, is really meeting the functionality that we need. And this past year, the flip would have been we were changing our systems pretty drastically in order to use the system the way we could, and some of that is like the knowledge and the like they're talking about for Wanakita, like that piece of like the staff just know what to do would have been really awesome this year in lots of different ways. So anyway, just looking to move the dial forward in a pretty significant way, I think, for us.
Excellent. I know we booked a full hour and a half, but we don't necessarily need to take it. We're definitely here to listen and try to understand what it is you guys need. And I'm hearing quite a few great things. We have very similar to what the sessions we did with childcare. We are taking notes and making sure that we have these things listed out so that we can plan accordingly.
Could I ask a question, maybe sort of preying on the expertise on the call for people who are doing camps registration through Avocado? I'm certain that you're navigating some of the same problems I'm looking at, which is I'm registering for a week at camp, but I might need to add on 6 or 7 different variations of early drop-offs and extra overnight trip and like all these things that camps do because it's special for kids. Is that all managed through instance packages? Is that how you're doing it, or am I missing the setup trick for that?
I don't know, Mike,
I don't
if
know.
you're able to respond to that at all. How
Yeah.
you're managing that.
So sorry. I don't know that anyone's doing variations of that. And maybe like we have attendance with childcare now, I don't believe anyone's saying I want early drop off on Monday but not Tuesday. And correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I have not seen that before. It's the first time I've actually heard it, Adam, which is interesting. And is that something that everyone needs? I guess is what I'm trying to hear.
At MNP, we have options like create instances like for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday for pre-care and post-care. But then I also do a package if everybody wants it every day, which gets very tedious.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's an option
Yeah,
to do something with that to make it easier, then that would be awesome.
I could see Rachel's wheels are spinning on how to set this up in our system the optimum way, but I don't know that it's good for us to speak to it right this second. But now that we know that that's something that we need to do, we definitely will put some cycles around it and say, okay, how do we do this?
Awesome.
Interesting. I'm not promising we can do much, but let us think about it first.
I know I've come to the point where I'm like, do I just take away the single day options and discount people because it's a lot of work.
Yeah, I didn't realize you guys were doing that, Adam. And again, I hear MNP is. Is anyone else doing that? So Rachel, as you're seeing here, has some thoughts on how to potentially do this, but she has to test it first. Yeah. So we'll take that one away for sure. Anyone else want to speak? I spoke for everyone. Sorry, guys.
I was just going to say, so Jen had put a question in the chat about if anyone could speak to how they register for inclusion support in Avocado.
I can speak to that for SWO. So we have a free instance that's not visible to the public. So most of the conversations around needing one-to-one support and inclusion support are done, just by email with the managers in charge of that. And then once we've identified the camper, we register them in the regular instance with the fees attached, and then in the free instance, just kind of as a back-end feature. And that's how we track them in terms of like reporting. There's also a question in our forms that asks if you need inclusion. So it's a yes, no. So you would find some campers there, but then once we've actually identified them and matched them with a staff, we register them in that free instance so that we're able to kind of pull out their data if we need it for reporting instances. But the rest of the information, we haven't tried kind of like an enhanced medical form or anything in Avocado for those campers. That might be something that we look at in the future, but the rest of it in terms of like collecting that health information is done through a separate PDF.
How do you deal with capacity that way? Do you block out a certain number of spaces?
Yeah, so if So for us, like if let's say we have 20 camp spaces, then our inclusion campers don't necessarily count in the ratio because they have the one-to-one support. But if we were counting them in ratio, then we would just make 19 regular camp spaces available online and kind of hold one back for that inclusion camper. And then we'll over-register the program by one. And then in terms of if we know we can offer 3 inclusion supports, then we have for that, not visible free instance, then the max is set at 3, and then we'll also maintain wait lists through there. So when families reach out for spots, we'll waitlist them in that free instance. But it's like, and I'd be happy to show you, like, if you want to reach out, I'm happy to show you how we do it. It's not perfect, but it works in terms of just being able to kind of identify who those campers are. So they're kind of registered almost in like 2 programs. So they're registered in the regular camp instance and then this like separate kind of back end program.
Okay, yeah, because ours would be our overnight camp, and so the space actually does matter, like even though it's an extra worker.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's funny, right? Because you could have a 1-week camp, a 2-week camp, a 4-week camp, but maybe we only have 2 inclusion supports, and you don't know what weeks people are going to pick. So
or what cabin they're going to need. Yeah. Or and you don't know, what kind of gendered cabin they're going to need or what kind of age group they're going to need. So for us, I'm just trying to think of how we run it before in the past for overnight. I think we just kind of identify where we have a space ahead of time and it's managed more manually. And then we would just try to, because usually, the one thing with our inclusion campers is they're kind of the first to register. So we would be pushing them in that first kind of registration push. But the only other way I can think of managing it would be just holding one space back from your max min. So if you have space for 40 campers, you put 39 available online and you hold one back knowing that you're going to have an inclusion camper come to you somewhere.
Okay, and because you're doing that like by email and things, like you're not using like Avocado prompts or forms for that?
So once we have them, once we know who the camper is, then we'll register them in Avocado. And we do have a yes/no question, but in terms of like their more detailed health information, at this time, we're not doing it in Avocado. So that is kind of done separately through like a PDF form. So they're actual like medical details and the supports they need.
I don't want to call out the same association, but I happen to know NAB does some unique items there. I don't know if you're familiar with that, Jen. Sorry, Adam. Is that something you're familiar with?
I'm sorry, could you ask that again? I was on
Yeah,
another
no. So you guys have a unique inclusion system that's on top of Salesforce, and it might be worth mentioning to Jen or team.
Yeah, and
it's up to you.
Christina was on the call and she actually drives that for us, but I think she's just logged off. We do run inclusion separately through Salesforce, through Salesforce Native, and our inclusion team then places participants in camps and supports them in camps. I'm not certain how the registration is managed or how spaces are reserved.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions or
even
thoughts on-
question? Yeah, or even questions like what you had, Adam, to somebody else in the group of how you manage it. And I know, Jen, you had one too. I think that those are a great spot for the roundtable if that's still outstanding as well. Well, in that case, let us know if anything it does come up. I know sometimes your wheels get turning after the end of these, so feel free to reach out to your account manager and we can add that to our notes document. To close everything out, so Matthew, you did say you had a couple things that you wanted to say as well, right? Or did you cover those already?
I think you have them covered.
Okay,
I'll let you continue. Yeah.
Okay. Got to transition to enhanced forms. Yeah, we can definitely help you out with that, Julian. We do that through the support team. So we'll reach out to you. So I want to wrap this part up, but I do have an extra slide just talking about our next user group as well. So hang in there once I start kind of wrapping this part up. But thank you very much. I think that this is, I echo what Matthew's saying, that there has been a lot of really positive things we've heard, a lot of great feedback as well, because it sounds as if a couple of the modules are really like 80, 90, 95% of the way there, and you just need one extra thing. So definitely work with you on that. We will be taking these notes back as a team and deciding what we're able to implement sooner than later as well, or what path we are going to be taking through camps, and keeping you updated with that. As mentioned, please reach out if anything else does come up, and we do appreciate every part of the conversation that we've had today. As you know, we do have, or as you may know, we do have a user group coming up next week to deal with the skills module. So we have implemented a new module over the last 6 months as well to track skills. So we'll be able to demo our new module that allows your team to rank members on their skills they've learned, print skills records, and make trackable learning paths viewable online. That includes in the portal as well. So you'd be able to create whatever your skill is, whether it is for swimming or gymnastics or karate, or really anything that you're tracking skills on. You would be able to rate them and leave any notes as well. And we have a really exciting demo for you scheduled then on December 7th. If you've joined Meetup, and this is the plug for Meetup, you will also get the note for that to be able to RSVP. So we do highly recommend being part of our Meetup. Awesome. Well, in that case, I don't think there's anything left. So thank you again for your time. Oh, go ahead, Rachel.
I was just going to say, since we do have the time, like, is there anyone who would be potentially interested in like knowing more about the enhanced forms? Like, we kind of just touched on it. Like, that seems to be a couple people's interest. Like, if people are willing to stay on, we can kind of go through that if that's helpful.
Yeah, that would be really helpful. Thanks, Rachel. So in that case, if you want to stay on, please do, but otherwise you are welcome to drop off as well.
I need a second to get set up.